Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tayler Yarish Show. We are back. Episode, you know what it is, 70-something. How's it going? I'm a little bit not under the weather. I mean, I guess I'm still recovering from the flu. I still am coughing up a ton of phlegm and whatnot, but I think that's like a good sign, like when you're on the back end of a sickness, that's when it all starts to come up. I feel like I'm there. I don't know. It's been like 3 weeks since I had the flu. I know I said this last episode, but the flu is just worse than COVID. It just is. So I'm still dealing with that, but I am just fucking drained because I did the Spartan Race yesterday. Did it. It sucked. I knew it was going to suck. And it's like, it's going to be tough, but you never know. Like, you just can't put yourself there. I knew going into this thing, I mean, it's a 13-plus mile race with like 30 obstacles, takes place on a mountain. The whole thing is hills. The entire thing is either up or you're going down. There's no flat. And I don't really have a way to train for that. And I never ran more than 8 miles. So I just knew going in it was going to suck. But like, man, I wasn't prepared. And the thing is, though, I did a lot better than I did the last time I did the race, which was crazy because I felt like I trained for that one. But I didn't fail any obstacles on this round or on this race. And every time you fail an obstacle, you have to do 30 burpees, which adds a shit ton to your time, and then it slows you down for the rest of the race, yada, yada, yada. So, yeah, last time I did it, my time was it was 4 hours and 19 minutes, and I came in like 65th place or something like that. And this time, my time was 3:44. So I beat it by like, however many minutes that is, I had a pretty good fucking time, and I felt like I was going quick, but just, I don't know, man, some of the, like, you're just going up these hills, and, like, you're not even running. You're just, like, hiking pretty much, trying to, climb a mountain. I mean, it takes place on a ski resort. It's a fucking mountain. And, yeah, you're just out there forever. I was fucking pissed because my Apple Watch died with, like, 10 minutes to go in the race, and I had it fully charged the night before. And it's like, what is the point of having these things if they're just going to fucking, I use it to track workouts and the thing just dies while I'm doing the work. You know what I mean? Like, come on, Apple. Get it together. Up the battery game. I'm sorry if I'm like clearing my throat at any point with this. I literally just had a dark chocolate brownie about, I had like a 3x3 inch dark chocolate brownie. I mean, this thing was decadent as fuck. I'm being a big old fatty right now, and I have been since last night because I fucking deserved it. I did not really treat myself for a while leading up to this race, and so, once it's over, you're going to be a big fat fatty, and that's what I've been doing. I was just like, we've been waiting around all morning. Kate made brownies, and, I want to eat them as soon as they get out of the oven, but you apparently have to let them cool. You have to completely cool. And that's got to be the fattest form of sitting around. You're not just sitting around. You're sitting around because you're waiting for brownies to cool. I mean, it's just the anticipation of being fat, is great. But I burned like fucking 2,600 calories or something during the race. So you know what? I deserve it. I had that. I had some ice cream last night, as well as some chicken over rice halal with the fried eggplant and the fries and the white sauce. I mean, it's just the fucking works. Kate didn't finish her lamb over rice, and I finished that. I mean, definitely ate all the calories from that I burned off in the race. Got them right back, so not to worry. But it was fun, man. I'm proud of myself. My cousin Jack did it with me, and he did not he did not really prepare at all. He had no idea what he was getting himself into. He's never done a race. Excuse me, sorry. He's never done a race like this. Didn't prepare for hills or anything. He didn't bring any water with him out on the course. They give you water on the course, but it's not, it's only when they give it to you. That's the only time you can drink water. So there's only like 4 or 5 stations throughout the whole thing, maybe. So, yeah, it didn't have any water. Didn't really have any race fuel, like, gels or the gummy things or whatever. So he didn't quite prepare. But he had like he did like 4:03, which is still a great time. Beat my last time by like 15 minutes. But yeah, it was fun to do it with him. I don't spend a lot of time with him. He's a fucking trip. A little bit of an airhead at times, but good kid, Tried to we were staying in the hotel at the resort, and I'm like, we're making food the night before. You got to like load up on the carbs or whatever. So we got like a thing of rice. We got a like a rotisserie chicken, and then like I got like some vegetable soup or whatever. So I had eaten already, and he's trying to like reheat the food. So he takes out a metal pot, puts the cooked rice in there, puts the cooked chicken in there, and then is just trying to heat it up in a pot. No liquid or anything on the stove. I'm like, dude, why don't you just throw that in the microwave? It'd be so much easier. And he's like, oh, it's a good point. So I go over, I sit down or whatever, and then I don't notice this, but he just takes the whole pot and puts it in the microwave, the metal pot. And I look over, and I just see him hitting the buttons. And then, of course, it just starts to spark everywhere. And I'm like, what is going on? And then he takes it out. I'm like, oh my, like things like that, where it's just like, how have you made it this far? And then he was getting into a debate with me on whether or not you should salt, not should you, but like, do you need to salt your food? This is an argument I don't even know how to have, because we're not even coming from we're not even like starting at the same place. Like he was saying like, oh, when I make eggs, I don't put any salt on them. When I cook meat, I don't add any salt. It's like, what do you mean? You're not adding salt. It's not like just putting salt on it is going to make it salty. It's literally, that's what salt does. It enhances the flavor of food. And he's like, bro, I'll cook eggs for you one day. You haven't had my eggs. I'm like, I know I don't need to. And we were trying to come up with all these examples of like, that's like having, ice cream without the this, or that's like having this or that. It's like, you need fucking salt. And Kate made a good point. It's like, that's like having ice cream without salt. Like anything without salt, it enhances the flavor of the food. Made me so mad. I don't like having discussions or arguments like that with people when you're just wrong. It's hard not to come off as like arrogant or like completely dismissive, but I don't know. There's no other way to have the conversation other than to just completely dismiss what you're saying, because it's just wrong. I don't even know how to have a conversation. It's not like an opinion-based conversation, So, I don't know. I was just like point blank. I'm like, yeah, dude, your eggs probably suck. If you're not adding salt, they probably suck. And then he was saying, he's like, well, with the steak, like if I cook a steak, I put like a seasoning blend on it. And I'm like, oh, okay. Which contains a shit ton of salt. He's like, well, it's like spices and stuff. And I'm like, which one is it? And we looked it up. First ingredient, of course, salt. But then his eggs, he was saying he'll add like oregano and some other shit. I'm like, he's got to be adding something else, like putting something on top of it or mixing something in there that has salt. Otherwise, like, it just wouldn't taste. It would taste like an egg, which like it doesn't taste it's not going to taste bad, but it's not going to taste good either. You know, I was trying to get her. I'm like, do you put butter in, like salted butter? Like, I don't know. So that was my life for like, 2 days, but it was good. It was good to do the race with somebody to have, because my goal was, I don't think I explicitly said this to him, but my goal was to beat him. I mean, I wanted to beat my last time, but I really wanted to beat him. And I felt the pressure from like my whole family to win. I didn't realize everybody in my family had like knew that we were doing this race, but we were like getting on the phone with people, and they're like, "Oh yeah, the race is tomorrow. Who's gonna win?" Like everybody already was coming at it from like a competitive, and we were not really having that conversation. Like when we first signed up, we like joked around like, "Oh yeah, I bet I'll beat you. Yeah, who's gonna have the fastest time?" But then like as it got closer, we never really had that conversation. Even when we were like texting each other during training, it was just this unspoken thing. But I secretly thought he was trying to mess with me, like when he would send me his run times or when he told me he got sick with COVID. I didn't buy it. I didn't believe him. And he probably didn't believe me when I told him I had the flu, even though I did. But yeah, my whole family was like, who's gonna, I just come from my whole family's competitive. My mother's a psycho when it comes to, any sort of competition. It's definitely where I get it from. And like, we all just get after it. So I felt like I had to bring it. And he's like 20, he's like his early 20s, works out a lot. I felt like I had the odds stacked against me, but I had the mental, I mean, there were points during the race where first of all, my heart rate was like between 170 and 180 the entire race. I think I looked at my watch, the average heart rate was like 171 throughout the whole race, which is insane. And I was like, there's no way he's going to fucking beat me. There's no way. Because there were so many times where I'm like, I want to quit, but I physically cannot stop. I can't stop. Otherwise, I will bring shame to my household, So, anywho, that was fun. It was good to see some family. Saw my grandmother again. My grandmother, dude, she's 81. She still drives. I don't think that's normal. And nobody brings it up. And nobody, I was like, oh, she drives? Oh, yeah. Yeah, she drives everywhere. I'm like, okay, but like, you're 81, right? So when do you throw in the towel? When do you hang the driving gloves up? 85? I mean, you know what I mean? Because you can drive until you can't. Right? And when are we gonna call it? Because you don't want to wait until something horrible happens. Dude, she was driving us to the bus station after the race, and there were a few moments where I was gripping the steering wheel, or like she would slowly veer into another, and just whoops. That's what she would say, like veering into another lane. Whoops. It's not a whoops. It's almost a car crash. She would like, a big thing is when we're like approaching a stop, like a red light, and all the cars in front have stopped, and she's just, like she just waits to the last second to hit the brakes, and you don't know. It's like, she's mentally very sharp. She's very with it. But that doesn't mean that the coordination, maybe the messages don't get from the brain to the foot as quick as they once did. And, I just worry. That's all. And people are like, well, she doesn't, she drives, but she doesn't drive very far. How far do you need to, I don't think that's how it works. It's not like it wears down over the distance. Like you could still make a mistake going to the grocery store. Oh, also, she doesn't have a driver's license right now. She's like, I think I sent it in and I needed to provide some paperwork and I didn't do it. But I think as long as, if I get pulled over, you just have to produce the license within 24 hours before you get a ticket. I'm like, I don't think that's true. I think if you get pulled over and you don't have a license, you get a ticket immediately. So she's just out there, 81 years old, slamming on her brakes, no license, driving all these places. I'm worried about her. That's all I'm trying to say. Just want to put that out there. But I hope I could do that when I'm that age. There's no way. I mean, well, that's not true. By the time I get to be 81, we're either going to be half robot or there just won't be a world anymore. I don't know. I don't know which one is possible, and I don't think it's going to be because of fucking the oceans rise and the ice caps melt and climate change. I don't think that's going to be the reason. I think we're going to fucking blow each other up. I mean, if you just think about all the shit that's happened in just like the last 5 years, what's going to, when I'm 81, that's another fucking, wow, that's only like 50 years? Jesus Christ. I guess it's a long time. It's like double what I've already done and then some. But yeah, like in 50 years, who knows? Who knows what there's going to be? Who knows who is going to be in charge? It's going to be some fucking, God, dude, I don't even want to know what people are going to be like. I'm like already talking like that old guy. But like, what are people going to be like in 50 years? Everybody's just going to be living in a fucking headset. No one's going to go outside. We're going to take pills and shots for everything. You know what I mean? We're just going to be weak. There's just going to be a rogue group of misfits who live in the woods, if there are still woods out there. And, we're trying to like grow our own corn if there's still soil. I don't know. I mean, maybe there won't be any natural forests anymore because, Disney and Amazon and God knows who else, buy up all the land to make more warehouses so they can fucking, ship us toilet paper and God and all the shit that we order off of Amazon. I don't like God, it's such a struggle. But like I really do go back. Like, is it wrong to use Amazon? I don't think so. Is it wrong to only use Amazon? Maybe. Maybe you got to mix it up with where you get your shit. But it is so fucking convenient, and it's hard to think of others when I'm, when I'm buying something for me. In that moment, I'm thinking of myself, and it's hard to think of myself and others. At the same time, it's really hard to give a shit. Like, I don't think they're the best company, but I don't think, like, some people really fucking hate them. I saw this article about this dude. He wrote this scathing article. It was like someplace in Dallas. There was like a Whole Foods, and there was like a bar in the Whole Foods, and then I guess they remodeled it and they removed the bar and put like something else, some other thing in there that probably more related to a grocery store. And this dude was just like ripping Amazon and specifically Jeff Bezos apart, that there was this, it was this great place where people came to hang out and they had these pictures of this, local lake and this and that. And now now it's like a, where the veggies are, and it just says like all these, these phrases of like eat local and love where your food comes from. Like these marketing team generated phrases that were probably tested by 1,000 people to make sure that they sound nice. And you know, but just how upset this dude was of like, this used to be a lovely local place where people came to. It's like, dude, you're going to a fucking bar in a Whole Foods. Calm down. Like, this is your hangout spot. Hey, find a better spot. Maybe they thought, hey, this doesn't make any fucking sense that we kept this bar inside the Whole Foods. Kind of goes against all the, shit that we promote with Whole Foods about being healthy and all this stuff. And then we're selling poison, in aisle 12. It doesn't make much sense. But like, he was just going off on Jeff Bezos as if it was like it's him personally that just rips down the bar and is smashing the liquor bottles and stuff when they're taking this thing out. It's like there's so many layers in between the dude at the top and then the people taking care of stuff like this in Dallas. You know what I mean? Like, I bet he doesn't sign off on every fucking thing that happens in the company. You delegate. I mean, he would literally get no sleep if he had to make every single one of those decisions. There's a lot of people, in between. It's one of the biggest companies in the world. Like, everything but that's who gets the most flack. It all goes to the fucking top because he's the face of the company, even though he doesn't even own. I just saw like he owns like 13% of Amazon or something crazy like that. I would have thought he owned like 75% of the company, but he doesn't. He owns. Dude, I don't know how business works. I don't know how ownership works. I don't know if owning 12% means you own 12% of the stocks or what, but I don't know, man. People just gotta fucking chill out a bit, huh? I can't believe Jeff bit. It's like, it's fun. Yeah, it's fun. I get it, to rip on the huge billionaire that you're never gonna meet, and it's easy, I think it's more complicated than that. Like, obviously his intention is not to destroy the world. He's just a fucking, greedy business dude who's trying to do business. And he did it. He did business the best that you can do business. And you're mad about it. And I get it. But, it's like all these fucking mom and pop places, they if given the opportunity, or maybe they would want to fucking rise to that level of thing, or not. Or some places, they don't even want to open a second location. And you know what? I don't think that's good either. If you got a good mom and pop thing going, maybe open a second, don't you want to grow? Or some people just don't want to. They don't want to grow. They're like, I got this fucking store, I'm happy with it, and that's all I want. And then, all right, then that's fine. But that doesn't make you any better than just because the dude who, I mean, like Amazon, I've definitely talked about this before. He's like starting in a fucking garage or whatever, selling books online. And now he's, running the world. And, we're responsible. He doesn't grow, like Amazon doesn't grow unless people buy into the shit. So